Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and we have some special guests here today. Mary, of course, is always a special guest. And we have Trent Loos and John Bolin. Trent is, he is the host of Loos Tales, and you are a sixth-generation rancher and farmer, correct?
Correct.
Got
Although I'm living on a bus, I kind of think I'm forgetting how to be a rancher.
Kind of like the Brady Bunch kind of
Yeah,
bus?
kind of like the Brady Bunch.
Kinda?
No, it's me living on a bus with John. It's nothing like the Brady Bunch.
Not like the Partridge Family?
Nothing even close.
No,
Not even
Mary.
He's going to tell us what it is like living on the bus and traveling across the country, because he's going to be in Minokan Grove tonight, starting at 5:30. They'll be singing. The program starts at 6 o'clock, right?
Starts with a prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the national anthem, and then we get rolling. Might even let Marty Beard kick things off. You'll have to tune in to see if that happens.
Okay, or show up. Show up is even better if you can. So yeah. And then it's part of the Arise USA, the Resurrection Tour, right?
Constitutional counties, faith, family, and freedom. We are taking this country back to God and country, one county at a time.
So
come
did you
and join them. Go ahead.
How did you think of that? How did you come up with the title, and how did you put it together?
I didn't come up with any of that title, but I support it 100%. It was the vision of Robert David Steele, who's a former Marine and an ex-CIA spy, and he wanted to go out to the people. We know that we have many problems in this country today, and we all sit back and we wait for somebody in Washington, D.C. to fix them. Nobody's going to fix the problems. So he said, we need to have a tour that's kind of like the old-fashioned religious revivals. And in fact, at Cowboy Church this past Sunday at Keystone, right at the base of Mount Rushmore, I tied it in with the religious revivals of the 1840s, when you had circuit riders who would go to the people and one guy put on 270,000 miles and gave 16,000 sermons. And that was all about going to the people and bringing them to God. We're going to the people and say, if you don't like what's happening in politics, what are you doing about it? And the answer lies in the courthouse in Burleigh County or Morton County or whatever county it might be. And we just want people to engage, want to get involved in the school board decisions and budget committee meetings, want to get to know your sheriff again. John Bolin's a former deputy sheriff, and get to know those county commissioners. The Constitution grants us the power at the local level. We've just been sitting back. We've been complacent. No more. We've got to get people fired up.
And we have not even invited, or we haven't even introduced John to our audience yet.
Do you think we have time for John? Maybe we just don't even have time.
Well,
I think we'll squeeze him
He's
in.
on this tour, right? Yeah, you let him ride on the bus with you, and he's going to be speaking tonight, and he is a retired U.S. Marshal. And you're going to be talking about what, John?
This evening I'll probably speak about animal rights extremism and the threat that poses to our country now. As if the farmers and ranchers don't have enough problems right now, and the food supply issues that we saw last year, all of that's being really compounded, and the animal rights extremists are really taking advantage of that situation.
You actually worked undercover, right?
I did. I worked undercover for 7 years in the state of Indiana, organizing illegal gambling enterprises, organized crime.
Wow, so that's going to be very interesting. You're not going to want to miss that. And I want to show just a little glimpse of your July 4th rally in Keystone, South Dakota, right?
Hello,
Correct.
Pennington County, South Dakota. This is where I typically lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, but today I've got a special treat. If you would please stand. Scarlett Radke is going to say the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
I love that you start with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance at each stop, right?
And I love that you caught the sound or the clip that had my wife in the far right-hand corner with her camera. She's always home taking care of critters. I'm here with you. You just brought her to the TV program. Great job.
Right.
Awesome.
Well
And you
done.
had that little sign that said Neighborhood Crime Watch with the law enforcement guy here. So that was excellent. Well
We
done.
do it all right
You
here
do.
on Beck.
Like,
This
you
is
think
where
about
everything
everything.
happens. We do.
Yes, not by chance. We knew what we were doing. Thank you for noticing, Trent.
Hey, I know great talent when I see it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
absolutely start every one of our programs with the prayer, and we've done that and try to bring somebody local to provide the invocation at each stop. We were very fortunate. That young lady, 7-year-old Scarlett Radke from Mitchell, South Dakota, Amanda Radke, her mother, needs to be a guest on your program one day soon. She was with us again last night at Fort Pierre in South Dakota. She's the mother of 4. Her and Tyler are doing a fantastic job homeschooling in South Dakota because they're tired of what's happening in the public school system. And so we've really evolved into where we've got a set of core speakers like John, Kevin Jenkins, Robert David Steele. We lost a couple today because we had a family go back to Pennsylvania. We'll talk about that later. But then we've been able to incorporate local people into the mix as well. And I think that's been a tremendous dynamic, that we're not just flying in, telling people what to think, but just incorporating how do we come up with the solutions and what are the paths forward to faith, family, and freedom.
And you're connecting us to one another. You know, I know you were out west and you took a look at what was going on in the timber industry.
Correct.
Right? And so you're looking at agriculture and you're connecting us all. And so we're not just in our little worlds and our little niches, because we need to be united as a country.
So the tour actually started May 17th in Atlanta, Georgia. I joined the 3rd day in New Orleans, and so I'm on my 6th straight week. And we cut across the southern part of the United States. We went through Norco, California, just south of Los Angeles. And then we came back to Salt Lake City, went to Seattle, and then came that northern tier with 4 stops in Montana. We've seen every bit of diversity. We've seen the challenges where land has not been managed properly. And I want to make it clear that this is not an agricultural tour. In fact, John's got agricultural roots. Obviously, I'm 6th generation. We're really the only 2 involved that had any agricultural tie at all. But it's bringing a mix. And Kevin Jenkins, he doesn't like us to say this, but he comes from Newark, New Jersey. He's the city kid. And so we have this blend of everybody. I actually have been guilty myself in talking about it's the rural versus the urban. That's not accurate. There are people in urban America that share the same values that we do. They simply have not been able to express their thought process and get in a place where they can be heard. And so we're bringing all of those combinations together at one event, and it's just been magnificent. Very empowering for us to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. It just seems like there's a lot of these rallies going up across the nation, not just your rally, but it seems like people are finally stepping up and saying, hey, we have a voice. It's a great thing. It's a great movement that's coming across America. I think far too long the conservative or the traditional value has been suppressed. Nobody, they just thought everything would be okay. Everyone's taking care of them. And I think now they're starting to realize that we just have to step up. It's like, we're not woke, we're awake. And I think that's what's happening.
Hey, I heard even Doug Billings is out on the trail going to the people. That
He
might be a
is,
rumor, I
yes,
don't
yeah.
know. You
Indeed.
can't believe what you hear.
Right. He'll be here tomorrow. He'll tell you all about it.
Right, and so we're going to talk some more. I want to hear what John has to say about what is the true story, what's the inside story about animal rights and what they're trying to convince us of. We'll be right back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. And
With
we are
a couple of dudes.
with
I was just going to say, it says nothing about the dudes again. Ever. I'm just going to stop. I'm going on strike. If you don't have the
Trent.
dudes, I'm not going to do it.
Trent, you're going to have your own show, okay? You can say whatever you want when you have
You
your own
keep
show.
promising
Your
me
guest,
that.
remember? Your guest. Tonight in Minokan at Minokan Grove, starting at 5:30, and the program starts at 6. Then you're in charge there.
Correct.
You can do whatever you want. You've got a host of speakers. Do you want to just go over some of the speakers that are going to be there? So.
Oh my
what's
goodness, I
coming?
got to think about who's going to
I
be
know.
there
Hey,
now. You're going to put me on the
Is
spot.
Clayton
I know,
Peterson going
well-
to be there?
Clayton Peterson's going to be there.
Talking
Again,
about the Second Amendment, I believe.
does Clayton Peterson talk about anything else?
No,
Yeah,
not that I
okay,
can
so-
think of.
I'm going to tell him he has to talk about the 10th Amendment, see how that goes. Robert David Steele, obviously, is our headliner because it was his vision and his drive to put this together. He brought myself, he brought Kevin Jenkins in, I brought John in, and John will be one of the presenters. Dr. Brad Meyer, who you've had on as a guest because I watched Ted Fogarty not let him talk on your program, and I scolded What the Fogarty about that. But Brad has got a great story. It's a bad story. It's a horrible story about how healthcare systems put profits and everything above a priority above human health. And so Brad shares that story. And we had this, I just have to talk about it. It's kind of a depressing day, to be honest, for our tour. I shouldn't tell the people they're going to come to Minokan Grove, but we've had this family with us since Sacramento. Josh Himes and his wife, Bren Marie. They've been speaking as a couple. She's an amazing singer. He's a professional boxer, now doing firefighting and working in an emergency room. But they have 3 kids. The oldest one is 3, turned 3 on our journey. So Bren Marie brought her father, John, and this entire family has been living in this bus for the last month. And it's just the ideal American scenario. And this family, they're just tired of what's been handed to them and all of us as parents, and our medical freedom being taken away. And so they joined us, but they have to go home today. They flew out of Bismarck today to go back. Karen Staley is one of our singers. He's a patriot standing up for freedom, one of the most talented individuals I've ever come across in terms of singing. And Greg Hager is my friend from Valley City coming over to join us tonight and tomorrow night, Pembina County Fair. We're going to be at the Pembina County Fair tomorrow evening doing this all over again. So that's pretty much what the speaker list looks like. And did I name Kevin?
Kevin Jenkins?
Kevin's the closer. And he couldn't get up in time to be here today, but his bus simply isn't here yet.
Okay. And
Otherwise, we'd had 3 dudes.
3 dudes.
you would have outnumbered us.
That's our plan.
And I needed Mary, so we can only have 2, so it was meant to be. You really are covering all the angles, everything from agriculture to timber. And John is going to talk about animal rights. You are a retired U.S. Marshal, right?
Yes,
And you worked undercover for 7 years.
I did, yes.
What was that like, and what did you find out?
Working undercover is how I actually got involved with the animal rights folks to begin with, because what we did was any illegal gambling, any criminal enterprise that survived with illegal gambling. And in doing those investigations, we discovered dogfighting and cockfighting, the gambling part of that. And I started investigating some of these cases, and that's when I started meeting these folks from the HSUS and ASPCA. And it's surprising how many people don't know what those 2 organizations are. When you say HSUS, Humane Society of the United States, ASPCA, American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, those organizations are the ones that have the sad commercials on television asking for donations. I met those folks and eventually went to work for the ASPCA as an investigator. And it was while working for them that I discovered how much corruption and deception there is within those organizations.
I want to clarify this. So you worked for them,
Yes.
and you're an investigator, and you discover, wait a minute, the people I'm working for need to be investigated, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. They manipulate law enforcement in a lot of ways, and they manipulate the prosecutors and the judges, the criminal justice system as a whole, really. They can't come onto your property by themselves. They're not law enforcement authorities. A lot of folks even think that they do have law enforcement authority, but they do not. So they have to have law enforcement on board to come onto your property and search and seize, take your animals. And secretly, they despise law enforcement. They talk down about law enforcement. But they have grants that they give law enforcement. I like to call it bribes, because there's strings attached to that money. They have, the HSUS, for example, has a law enforcement training center, and a lot of folks do not know that your tax dollars that you're paying for these law enforcement officers to serve and protect you. These law enforcement officers are being trained by these animal rights extremist organizations. A couple of years back, they posted on their site that they have trained over 4,000 police officers. And they use former law enforcement officers and current law enforcement officers to do this training for them. It's very disturbing that the National Sheriff's Association is in bed with HSUS. The National Sheriff's Association is sponsored by the HSUS in a lot of ways. And it's shocking to me. Are you okay? It's shocking to me that they don't know what these organizations are really about. They don't understand that these organizations are about.
Well, if I could just interrupt.
Sure.
Because it's your story, but we've been partnering on many of these along the way. So many times what happens, and obviously the one I'm most familiar with in North Dakota, is the Gary Dossinger situation that happened in Stark County. And what happens is somebody assesses that there's an animal neglect charge, animal neglect issue, or animal abuse, and if those animals are taken into custody, they actually go on the dole of the county. And so the county commissioners and the sheriff are like, oh, we can't deal with this. So then you have these animal rights organizations that John's talking about, HSUS in particular in this part of the world, that will come in and say, well, we'll help you and we'll get you through this. We'll train you how to do this. And we'll take those animals so that the taxpayers don't need to foot the bill while they're in custody of somebody else. And once the animal owner relinquishes the custody of those animals before they're convicted of anything, things never return to the normal. It is absolutely downhill from there, and that's something that John's been able to bring to light very clearly.
Amen. I know there's so much of that, and I know a lot of them are behind ending all animal agriculture in general, just for the general public. And so it is, they are both scary organizations, and we've been on their tail for a while too, as far as with the We Farm and Ranch as well. So lots of hidden agendas behind those organizations. But you're right, they have the sad little puppy eyes and send in the money. And a lot of that money goes to administrative fees too. It doesn't even go to animals.
A very small percentage of that money actually goes to rescue animals. The ASPCA's website said last year that they rescued 185 animals.
Wow.
But their CEO made $1 million.
Wow.
The HSUS and ASPCA combined had over $500 million in revenue on their last tax.
Wow.
In 1 year.
I tell you what, we've got that and more coming up after this. We're going to have to take a quick break, and we're going to finish up with you guys because I know we have so much more to talk about. That's coming up next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regina. The winning team is the Fleming River Excellence.
Oh my God!
They won!
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back, and I was having a little bit of a coughing
Oh, look at there,
Look at here.
ladies of
Some
another view.
dudes.
And some dudes.
What does that
There it
mean,
is.
Mark? Come on.
Some random dudes. Yeah, learn more about these dudes tonight
What'd you get
for
me
the
into?
Arise USA tour.
The Resurrection Tour.
The Resurrection Tour in Minokan Grove starts at 5:30. The speakers come on at 6.
Yes,
Right?
you
After
won't be
the prayer.
disappointed.
5:30.
I mean, you won't be disappointed because they are very entertaining. And just about had to do CPR over here with Patty on our last segment. But
Had
hey,
to
we
count
s-
my mic.
Right,
Yeah.
Well,
the
I
show
was
must go on.
volunteering, but then she didn't. Then she got better, just like that.
Just like that, yeah. So you're good in
I felt like I
you're
was the
good
only
in a
one really
medical-
worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trent's good in a medical emergency. You just threaten CPR and everything's fine, right?
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
on.
So getting back to our topic in the tour, and you really are bringing people together, all these different concerns, and a lot of people don't even know what's going on with animal rights. You know, because we know there's medical and schools and politics and what animals too we have to worry about. It's almost like the left is coming in at us from every side, every angle.
They look at every opportunity to use whatever's happening currently to push their agenda, whether it be animal rights or guns or whatever their agendas are. They look for every opportunity. When this COVID thing hit, Cory Booker was the first person to step up and say that farms are the next breeding ground for the next big pandemic. They immediately used it to attack farming. And, you know, of course, he's on the Senate Ag Committee now as of February.
Unbelievable.
So, you know, this is the individual, and these are the individuals that have that kind of influence over what's happening, and they're totally clueless about the reality of it.
I had somebody on from the North Dakota Farm Bureau to talk about that there was some study, really sloppy study done, that said that the animals are polluting the air and that it's even worse than the coal industry. And he said, how ridiculous. And it was a ridiculous study. And yet, I think it was the Washington Post published it.
Are you talking about cow
like
farts?
you even sound like Daryl when you say that, Petty.
Right?
So, actually, the study was done in 2008 by Pierre Gerber, a German researcher. And what he did was he looked at the life cycle of carbon emissions. And he said that the number one polluter for carbon emissions and all greenhouse gases was animals. And the consumption of animals was leading to this problem. And then Dr. Frank Mitlerner in 2009 fact-checked his work and determined that what he did when he put together that Livestock's Long Shadows, which was called, that was all sponsored by the United Nations, what he did was he looked at the entire life cycle of greenhouse gas emissions from animal agriculture, from the animals eating to the transportation, the next phase, to even including people going to the store to buy it. He included the entire life cycle. When he compared that to petroleum and the driving an SUV is what he exactly compared it to, he only compared it from driving from A to B. He did not look at the refining, the recovery of the oil, the entire life cycle. So when you look at the entire life cycle, Dr. Frank Mitlerner proved that all agriculture, all food production in the United States is responsible for 3.4% of greenhouse gases. And driving vehicles is contributing about 12% of greenhouse gases. Number one contributor is construction, particularly in urban areas where there's just not a lot of green space. But the problem is not greenhouse gases. The problem is that we have demonized these plant nutrients because carbon dioxide is not a toxic pollutant. What it is it's plant food. So the bigger picture that we need to talk about is we have to look at the whole life cycle, and what we want to do, what we have some people like Cory Booker talking about doing today, is removing one segment of the cycle of life and telling people that that's going to be better. You can't possibly have a healthy ecosystem without the animals that consume the forages, because the forages in the plants consume greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. It's called the cycle of life. Somebody named God actually created that to work perfectly, and now we have people trying to screw it up.
Well put. You know, my brother, who's a meteorologist, says CO2 is a pollutant only in politics.
Exactly right.
Wow, good statement.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because otherwise it's exactly what we need for this planet to thrive. And he says we're actually at an optimum climate right now as it warms up, and that the planet has never been more bountiful. Now, you've been out west with the Arise USA tour, and you've seen the timber industry, you're talking with farmers, and basically, what would you say that would you say we're in danger with the climate, or have we never done better?
We're in danger with the climate because we're not managing the resource. We have a drought, a severe drought of common sense that parallels the drought coming from the clouds. And so my friend Bruce Vincent gave me some statistics the other day, and he said right now the mortality in the forest is accelerated beyond the growth in the forest. In other words, trees are dying and just laying there, and they're available fuel for serious fires, and that is creating an inhabitant of preventing the growth of the forest like we should have. If we're in there harvesting the timber and we're utilizing that timber, that promotes faster, more rapid growth. He said right now we're parallel to what was happening in 1910 in the western United States, particularly from Missoula to Coeur d'Alene. And in 1910, there were 1,100 lightning strikes in one summer storm that caused a fire that burned 3 million acres from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to Missoula, Montana in 36 hours.
Wow.
And when you have that kind of heat, what you do is you sterilize the soil. And we saw in Springerville, Arizona, a place where there was a fire in 2011. And I have a video of it. If I was really well prepared, Patty, I would have shared that with you, so you could be showing that right
Remember,
now.
you're
while
going to
I'm
have your own
talking about
show,
that.
Trent.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
I'll put that on Trent on the Loose. Anyway, but, you know, I kind of just like Ladies of Another View and a dude. I mean, I just kind of rings a bit.
Some
Yeah,
dudes.
Some dudes.
Some dudes.
So anyway, this fire burned 550,000 acres. By the way, John Wayne's Hereford Ranch was part of that allotment. John Wayne wasn't there in 2011, in case anybody's wondering. But there's nothing growing. My friend Lance Knight took me to these hills that had burned 11 years ago, and
Nothing's coming back.
not even a weed is coming back, because we leave so many fuels in the forest that when the fire comes, it just sterilizes that soil and nothing grows. Bruce Vincent tells me that trees are on an 80 to 90 year life cycle, and if you don't manage them properly, 40 to 50 years, you've got severe repercussions to look forward to, and that's where we're at right now.
I don't get it. We have a U.S. Forest Department. Why can't they figure this out? Why aren't they talking to you, Trent? I mean, it seems pretty obvious.
Well, I'm just a voice of people who, because we were in Mount Rushmore, we were at Keystone right down the road from Hill City. We're in March when I had a meeting there on 30 by 30, which you and I talked about last time we were here. There was a sawmill that closed down that day. They continue to close down sawmills because the people who want to control the environment, want to control lives, talk about we just need to get back to nature. Let it take its natural course. Mother Nature is the most cruel animal rights person, the most cruel to the environment, the most cruel you could possibly be. What we have accomplished since 1776 is the ability to manage Mother Nature so that when we have a drought, and you look at the country we've been in, the drought has been severe, and yet because our forefathers put in place a water capture system, and then we can utilize that irrigation at a time of severe need. Now we're being told, no, you can't do that. When we were in Oregon, the Klamath Falls, Oregon farmers were told they get 0 water this year to water their crops, and there's a 50% level in the water that's available. The problem isn't the drought. The problem is in public policy not allowing the individuals closest to the land to manage the resource.
Sure. And then all that water is dumping into the ocean too. I know
To
California.
protect the fish.
To protect the fish that they don't even know are there or not.
Exactly.
Wow. So
Well,
in less than a minute, tell us what our viewers or anyone who's attending the rally tonight, let them know what they can expect. What can they expect?
John, lay it on us.
Well, nothing like pressure there. No, really, you can expect something that America has really been hungry for. And that's just a lot of truth, a lot of good people, people that are bold enough to actually start speaking up and speaking out about things that we've been silenced on. It's almost to the point where we felt ashamed to even speak about patriotism or about the deceit, about that 1% that has controlled the 99% for so long. And that's what you can look forward to hearing.
So our kind of people, and I have a feeling our viewers' kind of people too. So
Absolutely.
definitely come out.
Be empowered and find a path to the
Yes.
solution.
Yes, we're not the only ones.
The
There's a lot of
resurrection
us.
is upon you. Faith, family, and freedom. Be a part of it or get run over.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So we'll see you tonight at the Arise USA Tour in Minokan Grove, and we'll be right back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Meet Ivory Hecker Thursday, July 1st at Beck News at 8 p.m. Central Time. Hear Ivory's story and ask her questions of your own in person. Ivory Hecker Meet and Greet starting at 8 p.m. Central Time at Beck News in Bismarck.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and now it's just two ladies.
Two ladies without our dudes.
The dudes are gone, but we have plenty to talk
You
about.
know, and the thing is if you guys can get out there tonight, get out there because there's so much to learn. It's just you're going to be around people that have the same thoughts, the same ideas, and you're going to get a lot of great information. And it's all about, you know, getting our country back. And so that's kind of what we're here at Beck all about. You know, informing and getting the information out there. And they have so much to share. You'll have so much to learn tonight.
You know, the reason we have Ladies of Another View is to have guests like John and Trent. We didn't do it, I mean, sometimes we do fun, interesting shows, but really it's about getting our country back and speaking out in ways that we don't get to hear.
Media won't let you talk about. We can talk about it right here.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about right now, because it's getting worse. We've been doing this show for 7 months, and we have seen social media get worse. For instance, Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Ladies of Another View. You're welcome to like us. I don't even know if they're going to let you like us right now because we've been punished even more.
Well, they give you a warning if you do find us. If you do find our page and try to like us, they're going to say, are you sure you want to like this page?
Look what Facebook is doing right now. This is just randomly, they're telling people, have you been concerned about someone who's becoming an extremist? Have you been contacted by somebody who's an extremist? You can report that person to Facebook. Can you believe it? And this is what happened. I tried to share a link to the CDC. Centers for Disease Control. They said, oh, this might mislead people. It didn't say it was false. Look at that. Independent fact checkers say this information could mislead people. Do you want to know what that information was? Take a look. This is what they don't want you to know. This is from the CDC, the VAERS COVID vaccine data. It's vaccination accident, or what is it? Vaccination event,
adverse events, reporting systems.
Reports. Right, and this is what so many people have reported. Maybe about 10% or less people. A lot of people don't know about the VAERS report. If you've had any kind of adverse reaction to vaccines, you can self-report. You might say, well, what about the official reporting? Well, there isn't one. They don't want to know. And so this is what has been reported so far. It's on the CDC, and you cannot see it. If you look at the bottom, if you want to look this up yourself, like take a photo with your phone right now if you're watching, you can look this up yourself. I cannot post it on Facebook. I will be shut down, and we will be punished.
Okay, it's openvaers.com, and then it was / COVID or something like that. But yeah, it's really interesting because they're saying that that information might not be true because people self-reported that it didn't come from an official website. But I tell you what, most of the people that have had adverse side effects don't even report it. I will tell you a story about a relative of mine who had been, he got vaccinated on a Thursday night and didn't feel well that night, went on a golf trip for the weekend and didn't eat or drink the entire time. The Friday night went to bed by 9 o'clock, Saturday night went to bed at 9 o'clock, and just didn't feel good the whole weekend and really couldn't eat anything. That Sunday they were coming home and had to pull over and let the wife drive. So the wife started driving, and then he said, you have to pull over again. Pull over. He thought he was going to puke. Well, he couldn't puke because he hadn't eaten anything in over 3 days, and passed out on the side of the road, eyes to the back of his head, rolls into the ditch, and his wife thought he was dead. Absolutely the scariest moment in her life. And then all of these symptoms are the symptoms of having a heart attack. And there was a 13-year-old boy that they had just reported, this was on one of the news networks today, that he has died, and it was also from a swollen heart. So this is one of the side effects. Now, the person that I talked about, I know has not reported it to VAERS. So the VAERS report, although those numbers are astounding, they seem pretty high, a lot of people don't even report them. I think they say less than 1% actually report them. So those numbers are high. If you have had a bad side effect from any vaccine, whether it's the COVID vaccine or any vaccine in general, you have to report it. I also have another relative who she has a large lump on the side of her arm, and that is from a vaccine I think she was a teacher in school, and I think it happened when she was still teaching about 20 or 30 years ago. But anyway, that's another side effect that she never reported. So that's 2 family members of mine that have had adverse side effects. One from the COVID shot. Most of my relatives haven't had the COVID shot. Some have. But anyway, it's out there, you guys. And
I have a video of Eric Clapton. A lot of people know Eric Clapton, a very, very famous rock person. He's had I have a video of him talking about he has neurological problems. He's having serious problems after the vaccination. But here is somebody, Dr. Robert Malone. He actually was a pioneer and helped invent the mRNA pioneering technology that is used in the vaccination. So you think that social media would give him a voice. Oh no, they shut down his LinkedIn account. They took him off of YouTube. And do you know why? Because he's asking the question, is the risk benefit worth it for children for ages 12 to 18? He's saying we need to take a look at this. He is not against the vaccination, but because he's questioning it, LinkedIn took down his account. He's going to sue because he said, I had an agreement with LinkedIn because he bought the extra membership for businesses. And he said, I didn't do anything. All I said is, let's talk about this. But he was actually on Fox after he was taken down. Let's just take a quick look at that.
In a way that's accessible to non-scientists, I hope you'll tell us, do you have concerns about these vaccines for people who aren't at great risk?
Yes. I think that one my concerns are that the government is not being transparent with us about what those risks are. And so I'm of the opinion that people have the right to decide whether to accept vaccine or not, especially since these are experimental vaccines. This is a fundamental right having to do with clinical research ethics. And so my concern is that I know that there are risks, but we don't have access to the data, and the data haven't been captured rigorously enough so that we can accurately assess those risks. But certainly I can say that the risk-benefit ratio for those 18 and below doesn't justify vaccines, and there's a pretty good chance that it doesn't justify vaccination in these very young adults. My understanding from colleagues inside the FDA is that the CDC is overwhelmed. They aren't even processing the data they have. We're left in a position where we're waiting for data from places like Norway, Finland, Scandinavia, and hopefully from Israel to back up our decisions in public health.
Do you hear what's happening? This information is being hidden from us. He got shut down. He is off of LinkedIn for even bringing up this, the question.
And he invented the what is it? The mRNA vaccine. He invented it, and they won't even let him talk about it.
And who is they? Who is they? Like, why is this being shut down? Isn't this bizarre? Why can't we know this information? There are forces at work. We had Ivory Hecker on last week. Beck flew her in because she resigned, and she did an interview with the Project Veritas. And her issue with the Houston station that she worked for is she wasn't allowed to report on any kind of treatment for COVID. And when a hospital said, well, they have a much lower death rate because they're treating people for COVID, she was not allowed to report on that. This is bizarre.
And she was told specifically that you cannot talk on that subject. You cannot mention that. You cannot report on that. And she just couldn't take it anymore. And so she was a Fox News reporter and absolutely blew the whistle on air.
And that is why Ladies of Another View exists, because the CEO realized, you know what, we need to have a program where we can talk about these things. And it has gotten worse in 7 months because they don't even care if it's, they don't even say it's incorrect anymore. They just say, we don't want people to know this.
Right, right. And so you keep in mind when they, if you get a post that says something is partially false actually means mostly true. But they'll take your post down because it's partially false or partially misleading. And it's whatever they decide. It's not what you decide or what you want to research on your own. They're not even going to let you see the information to have the opportunity to research it.
It's their community standards. And they're saying, they're not even saying it's, now they're saying, well, it could mislead people.
Yeah.
It's true, but we don't want to mislead people, like, to let you know the truth. So anyways, that's enough of our rant for now. We're going to move on to the lighter side right after these messages with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Without our dude.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Join Trent and Loos in the Arise USA Tour at Minokan Grove, Tuesday, July 6th, beginning at 5 p.m. Find out more at ariseusa.com and catch Trent on the Loose here on Beck News. Minokan Grove, Tuesday, July 6th, Arise USA, beginning at 5 p.m. Central Time.
Calling all farmers. Join us Friday, July 16th for Farmers Night at the Bismarck Bucks. The Bucks take on the Frisco Fighters with a 6:05 p.m. kickoff, and we'll highlight our friends at Farm Rescue. Please visit bismarckbucks.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Back. Just the two of us once again without the dudes. But that was sure fun talking with them and enlightening. I'm really thankful that
it is. And it's so nice that people take time out of their private lives to go ahead and go across the nation. He's been doing this for over 66 days already, and the tour's not even over yet. But, you know, trying to hit every state and just to bring awareness, because it is we, the people, that run this country, or that are supposed to run the country.
Yeah, speaking of we, the people, look what happened in a Walmart.
Isn't that
Isn't
awesome?
that amazing? Yes.
I think we should all do the Walmart challenge. You know, if you're going to go to a big box store, you know, make some use out of it. Go ahead and that was down in Texas, but that can happen anywhere in any neighborhood, in any Walmart or any grocery store for that matter. If you have that patriotic movement or moment and it creates a movement, go for it.
And I bet you could start that in any store in North Dakota and people would join in.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
100%. I know I would.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen. I remember seeing a video of a baseball game. They couldn't get the sound system working. They said, okay, we're just going to go ahead and play ball. And everybody said no. And they all stopped and sang the Star Spangled Banner.
And, you know, that's kind of funny because I remember years ago, this was a hockey game. And it was up in Canada, and it was a U.S. team playing in Canada, and the sound system went off. And so the gal was trying to sing the Star Spangled Banner. There weren't very many American fans up there at the time, but the Canadians went ahead and finished the Star Spangled Banner. So that was really sweet.
For us.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's good they knew the words,
They
right?
do. I will say that about Canada. I went to school with a lot of Canadians up at Minot, and they know more about U.S. history than we do. I couldn't even name all the provinces, and they know all the states and their capitals. And these are college kids. You know,
Wow.
it's not that they learned them in the 4th grade and forgot about them. They could rattle off. I could ask any state, and they knew the capital.
Wow.
And can our own kids do that? Can our own college graduates do that?
Yeah, we used to do
Probably
that.
not.
We homeschooled and we used to do the capitals. I'd have the kids quiz each other and turn it into a competition. And we used to start every day with a Pledge of Allegiance. And you were just sharing before the show that there's a lot of young adults that don't know the Pledge Allegiance, apparently.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, it's kind of
check it and make sure your kids know.
a goofy story. It was, I don't even know if I want to give names or anything, but it was a competition, and one of the questions was, can you recite the Pledge of Allegiance? And these are 17 and 18-year-old girls, and only one out of the entire group knew the Pledge of Allegiance. And it's just unbelievable how that is.
Yeah, it's not that complicated, and it's important. Do you think we could use that as a like an interview if you're applying for a job? Yeah, recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, absolutely. Do something like that. We
Yeah.
got to bring patriotism back. We're working hard
We
right here for everyone to bring that back.
We are, and that's why I just really applaud Trent. I hope you, if you're watching this, that you come out to Menoken Grove tonight, 5:30. The program starts at 6, because he really, when you think about, he is taking time out of his life. Who would want to sit on a bus, put this together? As a matter of fact, if you come tonight too, I think you need to consider if we could donate to his cause. I'm trying to look
But
at.
that's just it. You know, he didn't ask us to ask you for a
he didn't.
donation.
No.
He does not. He's very, very modest. He has not asked that. So that's just something that we felt that we could do if you guys want to donate to him. You know, there's gas, there's hotels, there's, you know, the fees. I don't think there's any speaker fees. I don't know.
He stepped out in faith on this one, big
absolutely.
time. If you go to bigbatusa.org, bigbatusa.org.
Yeah, right there on the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, log on to that. And if you feel so moved to make a donation, absolutely go for it. There's a really good chance Patty's going to survive today, too, by the way. We both are struggling with a little bit of a chest congestion, so sorry about that. But, hey, real people doing real news, you get real coughs. It happens, right? And we don't edit anything out, so it just makes it even more real.
When we have to cough, we cough.
Right. So anyway, we just want to stress again, if you can get out to Menoken Grove tonight, it is the night to be there about patriotism. Thank God for the rain that we just had. It was a nice soaking rain, because they're usually in July. When you get rain in July, it's accompanied by thunder and lightning. There was none of that last night. And we got the 70 hundredths down on our ranch of a soft, gentle rain. So bring an umbrella tonight just in case, because there is a chance of rain. But, you know, that's just North Dakota. Stick around. It's going to change, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we want to thank you all for being with us today. Thanks to our guests, and get out to Menoken Grove, and we'll see you next time on Ladies of Another View on Beck.